Welcome back to the We Was Watching podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
Oh my gosh. I'm your other host, Chanel.
And we are back to talk about Murderbot, episode 6 of season 1. But before we get into that, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a review. If it's 5 stars, we'll read it on the show. Haven't got any new reviews, although y'all are listening. So those of you who came to us for Murderbot, leave us a review. We really appreciate that.
Yes, please.
You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@WeWasWatching, or you can just search for us on the search bar at We Was Watching Podcast. Please leave us a review. And if sorry, not leave us a review. Subscribe and like our videos and hit the notification bell to see us go live, where we're actually going live right now. You can also
we did very recently hit 200 followers on Spotify. So shout out to you if you're listening on Spotify. We appreciate it.
Yeah, most people listen to Apple Podcasts, so we appreciate you, Spotify listeners. You can also email the show at wewaswatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us any theories or predictions. Like we said last week, we're going to be doing Ironheart soon. So get ready for that for you Marvel fans. And then you can also follow us on social media at We Was Watching on Twitter and Blue Sky. Chanel, you were out gallivanting around the world again, as you usually do, and watching movies.
I went out. I did do that. I was not around the world. I went across. I stayed in America.
America's part of the world, and you gallivanted around it. It's pretty far. Seattle or wherever the fuck you were out west, as far as hell from here.
Yep.
So did you enjoy, what movies did you watch, and did you enjoy them?
I literally have to look at whatever I sent you because I can't. I have to make room in my brain for these type of things. Hold on, let's see. Okay, so I watched 2 movies. I slept on the way back, which was preferable. But actually notable, there was a basketball person on my flight. Is that something?
A basketball person? What is a basketball person?
Jalen Rose was on my flight.
Why is that
a big deal?
Why is it a basketball person?
Because I don't know if he played or if he's just a commentator. I just know his face.
Yes, he played. He's from Detroit. He's very popular in Detroit, like a big deal in Detroit. He went to Michigan.
That makes so much sense.
He was part of the Fab Five.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Because I was like, what's he coming here for?
Yes, that's cool. Jalen Rose. A big deal in Detroit.
All right.
Huge deal in Detroit.
Well, Delta played me. Sometimes Delta upgrades me, but I was not in the same section as him. So we were not able to make friends. But I was just like, he looked young. He looked young in person. It took me a while to realize he was a famous person. Anyway.
Yeah, he's in his 50s.
I watched. Yeah, he looked like my age until I looked at him more. Okay. That's not shade. I'm just saying, like, I didn't know who that was at first. So I was just like, oh, there's a man. Okay. So I watched Novocaine on the plane. High level summary I texted to Brandon was that it had little twists and it was medically accurate. Okay. So Novocaine, you never saw it. Okay, so here's my quick movie I saw on the plane review. We know it's Huey from The Boys. It's Jack Quaid, a young girl who played the love interest. I don't know her name. And then there's this like cameo, I guess, like the surprise reveal at the end. But I literally knew it. Okay, I also haven't taken the time to look up his name, but I knew who it was going to be because you watch like Spider-Man No Way Home, right? You watched the last one. So like the friend who's like, he's like Samoan or Hawaiian or something Pacific
the guy in the chair.
Ned. Yes, he is. Yes. There was a voice for 2/3 of the movie, and I was like, oh, that's about to be him. And then it was him, and I was like, yep, nailed it. So I think great for that actor that he has such an iconic like presence and a voice as the guy in the chair, because I knew it was going to be him, and it was him. So basically the movie is about he has SIPA, which means that he so the whole idea is that he cannot feel pain, and it becomes an action movie, but it starts with the premise that he doesn't do anything in life that's risky because his parents basically wanted to like keep him in a bubble. So like he doesn't chew food because of the risk of chewing his tongue off without knowing it. Like everything he eats is liquid. He drives super safe. He's just like super hyper aware. And then also he has read a lot of medical documentation and like medical manuals and like stuff by doctors because in encyclopedia of the body or whatever, he understands all of that because he's had to study it to know like how to, because he could whatever stub his toe and it would swell up and he could die from it because he doesn't realize it's happening, or like he has a timer on his watch to use a bathroom every 3 hours because his body won't tell him he needs to use the bathroom and his bladder could explode. So but the only thing that confused me about that is I'm like, all right, so what about the other stuff you have to do in the bathroom? Like, do you not know that has like I was just curious about what he does feel some sensations, but I guess not pain.
It's people like that in real life. It's a real condition.
Exactly. So I just didn't know how accurate the way that they portrayed it was, just in terms of like they mentioned one part of what happens in the bathroom, but not everything. So I don't know how accurate it was, or if that was just added in for like them to be able to use that timer as a device. But anyway, there's like his name is Nathan Kane, and he got the name Novocaine in college because people used to like get excited to get him drunk and see like how messed up he could get. And so spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, giving you guys time to clear out. So the girl that he's like in love with, the girl who convinces him to chew food for the first time and understands how good dessert is, like this girl, she gets taken as a hostage when the bank that they work at is robbed right after their first date, and he's just like so enamored with her that he goes after them because he's like, I need to save her. Like there's no way I'm gonna let them get away with her. And so he becomes like an action star, fighting his way through all these battles basically. And then oh my gosh,
superhero.
Well, yes, but like he doesn't want. The funny thing is he doesn't want to fight, but the way that he keeps winning all these fights because he doesn't feel pain, it makes it look like he's like a villain, and so like the police are chasing him as if like he's just out here killing people. And then one of the police is, my God, sorry, I'm just because if I don't say her name, I'm gonna be mad at myself. Thank you. One of the police is Betty Gabriel, which was just, and then the other police was, you know what? I should just pull this up when I do it because I actually love him as well. One of the police was Matt Walsh. So Betty Gabriel and Matt Walsh. That was actually a good paired up for police detectives. And so the cool part is that, or the kind of the flip part is you find out that actually the girl that he's chasing, his love interest, was in on it the whole time. Like they do this, she goes and works at banks, and then she befriends the manager to get like the bank vault information, and she hadn't gotten it from him yet. But when she sees that he's coming to save her, she's like recognizes she does feel like, she's like, no, I did feel the way I did about you. Like I really do love you. Kind of like the whole the old movies and when someone in high school would go undercover to go on a date and then find out they actually have feelings for the person, kind of thing. But in the end, she ends up, instead of running away, she admits it because she has to save him. And so they save each other. It's a little bit unrealistic. Like he does keep passing out. Don't get me wrong. He needs to take epinephrine. He takes adrenaline. Like he has his stuff. It felt very medically accurate. But by the end, he literally is like a cartoon character. He's been run over so many times because he got in so many fights. And then like the ending, we see the Ned who, and you know what? Hold on. Let me respect this man and tell you his name.
His name is
At
Ned.
the end, no, his real name is Jacob Batalon. We see Jacob Batalon in the hospital with him. He's like in a body cast, which is like the comedy of it all. Like, yeah, he got through it, but he literally cannot move. Like, he has to have a skin graft and everything's in whatever cast. Betty Gabriel comes back and tells him, like, because she saved her life in the process because she got shot. So there's that. And then the very end, you have like, so the whole thing was he fell for her because she convinced him to try dessert for the first time because he was scared to chew. And so they're eating dessert together at the end, and then they zoom out and it's her in jail, and she's serving her time for her part in the her part in the robbery. So it was like actually a cutesy rom-com with like a twist, and I thought that it was interesting because it was medically accurate, and I enjoyed it. So like I watched it the whole time. I didn't pause it. I think I'm positive. Like I finished it. I didn't leave it unfinished. There's some movies I've never finished, and we talked about that. So Novocaine was good, and then more quickly, there's this movie called Presence.
Okay.
You never heard of it, right?
No.
I think it's Steven Soderbergh, 2024. I think Lucy Liu plays the mother in it, and I don't know the name of the.
Lucy Liu, she's still acting.
Yeah, she played the mother in the 2024 movie by Steven Soderbergh.
Okay.
Chris Sullivan plays the dad. Julia Fox plays. Oh, she plays somebody in the beginning that I didn't. She plays somebody in the beginning that I didn't see that dies. I think it's very interesting. It does not have good. It has Oh, I lied. It came out at the beginning of this year, but I think it's like 2024 development. 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.2 on IMDb.
87 is good.
And yeah, it's not bad, but like some people really don't like it or feel like they just didn't get it. And maybe it was the Julia Fox of it all, but I'm trying to think, is it fair to is it fair to spoiler alert something that came out this year?
2024 is last year.
Well, it came out in January. I just realized, even though its title is 2024.
If it's on video where you can watch it on a plane, then you can spoil it.
Okay, so I'll spoil this one, but like I said, it wasn't that good at first, but I think the premise of it at the end is why I ended up saying I was surprised by it, and I told you I watched it because you think it's just going to be a scary movie film, and then over time you realize the camera is the POV of whatever presence lives in the house. So you'll see the presence like watching things, and in hindsight you realize the presence like is centered in the daughter's room. So it's like, son, daughter, mother, father. But the daughter is kind of devastated because she had a friend who just passed, like they're teenage, but she had a friend who just passed away of an overdose or something. Like, like kind of unforeseen, unseen, unknown causes just in the middle of the night. And so she's devastated. And so you think at first that maybe the presence is like her friend or it's something there to like just keep her company because it feels very friendly to her. And then the brother is doing his own thing, kind of being a jerk. He's an asshole to her. And then he has a friend he brings over who's like, oh, your sister's hot. And he's like, oh, whatever, bro. So then you start seeing him hanging out with the sister, and the sister likes him. So then you'll see them in the house together. So like the friend and the sister are together sneaking around while the brother is like not there. And so one night their parents are going out, and then there's this side thing where like the mom, Lucy Liu, is doing something illegal, and the husband's trying to leave her. Like there's some side acting you see, but again, you only see that because the presence is like watching them while they're having these conversations, and that's why the acting's sometimes a little bit off. But then I don't know. You would have to watch it to see, but it feels like a little bit like found footage in that sense of how they're acting, but it's not bad as much as like I just don't I don't know. Like maybe it is realistic that people act like this. So the whole crux of it is that, and this is actually sucks. It's such a good reveal and such a great, like, I'm spoiling something that actually is worth watching. But so again, like going slowly, pause, skip here if you don't want to know. But at one point the sister and the guy friend who goes to school with them is over and they're hooking up, and he puts something in her drink and we're not sure what it is. It looks nefarious, and then the presence comes and knocks a drink over before she can drink it. So the presence is like interfering in positive ways, but like to stop her from drinking it. So then they're talking about the sleepover they should have while the parents are out of town, and he's like, well, don't worry. Like, I'll just put an Ambien in your brother's drink and we'll knock him out and I can spend the night with you. And she's like, okay. And so then they do it. They show him putting Ambien in the drink. He sneaks upstairs, but we also see him drugging her drink again. So we don't know what that is, but it doesn't seem like the Ambien. It seems like another substance. Probably. Actually, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I don't feel good about the fact that we're trying to keep this from my brother anymore. Like, I'm going through stuff. I miss my friends. Let's not do it. And so he still gives her the drink. And so we see her kind of lose consciousness. And then he goes into this like monologue about like finally being in control because he's never in control of anything in his life, and he talks about like how like the how thin the layer of control is, and he pulls out this like plastic wrap and he puts it on her face so that she will slowly suffocate. So like because she's roofied, she can't breathe, she's gonna suffocate. And that's how we find out that he killed her friends. He was hooking up with the friends, was drugging them, suffocating them with the saran wrap, and then leaving them behind so it seemed like they died of drugs or natural causes. And then you know how like teenage boys are, people are saying, oh, they shouldn't be doing drugs, it's their fault. Like there was no follow-up on it being like you know, what's the word, like bad behavior, what's it called when it's like somebody tries to kill you? There was no follow-up on it in terms of police, how they call it.
What? When
You
somebody
know when the
tries to
police are
kill
like
you?
no, you know when the police are like it was like bad intent. There's no follow. The police don't follow up on it, and is it being like some like bad behavior? What? There's a
Oh,
two-word
I know what you're
phrase.
talking about. Yeah, I don't know the
Yeah,
word, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So the police are like they don't follow up on it because they think like it's just an accident, but it is like there's somebody who did something here, and that's how we find out he's actually been a serial killer. The presence goes downstairs and like use and scream like basically creates
It's no
turns the music
foul
all the way.
play.
Thank you. Thank you. See, this is why we do the show. But anyway, so last minute other recap. So basically the presence goes downstairs, wakes him up, wakes up the brother like through screaming in his ear, basically like shakes stuff in the ground, like literally starts like an earthquake. So the brother wakes up, he goes upstairs and he pushes the guy out the window, but he goes out the window with him and dies. And then the last scene is them clearing out the house and Lucy Liu having to break down, missing her son, because she looks in the mirror and she sees him. And yeah, like by the end of it, I was like, oh, I did not see this coming. I didn't see this being what it's about. And I think it was interesting because it was like I thought it was more about like a paranormal activity type of twist, but it was more of like the presence was there, like support her and look out for her. And then conceivably it was gone once he was found, or like once what happened was revealed. So don't know if I think the acting was amazing. That's probably why it has like a 6 something on IMDb, but I think that it was different for what it is. And then people tend to love Steven Soderbergh. So like, or Soderbergher, I don't know this man's name. So maybe there's just like, he's going to get some grace no matter what, because he's who he is as a director. So anyway, those are my 2 like movie recaps, which that's when I catch up on stuff I would never sit up and watch at home. And then I end up being surprised by the stuff I see. I should probably trust Delta's choice. They usually don't have terrible movies on there. So
Well,
that's
we
it.
went almost 20 minutes, but we got under. So I will say before we get into Murderbot that I had 3 people
Mhm.
over the weekend
Mhm.
send me a message because they know I talked about this so much and ask
Mm.
me if me and Chanel are going to be reviewing Foundation. 3 people, including one person who was trying to finagle their way on the show. And I know they're listening and stop trying to finagle your way on the show. But they wanted to get on the review Foundation. The 3 people this weekend sent me the trailer. Oh, did you see this? Did you see it? One of them's been
They
on the
might get their
show. Rich
they
has been
might
on
get
the
their
show.
wish. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that hard to get on Foundation because who knows how I'm gonna feel about it.
I don't know how you don't like Foundation. I just don't understand. Well, I know you never say you didn't like it. I don't know how you didn't finish Foundation. I just don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay. It's coming. It's coming up soon. So wait, Ironheart is next week, and we said Foundation is
Yeah, but
same
Ironheart is
time.
weird because they're doing 3 episodes next week, right?
Mm.
But the whole season's only 6. So it's 3 episodes next week, and then for 3 weeks there's an episode and the show's over.
Like a month
So
rollout. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a month rollout. So it'll be over before Foundation even starts.
But so we have them. Okay, well, listen. So what that means is, hey guys, we're gonna do it all.
Yeah, 3 people. I couldn't believe it. Well, I could believe it, but it all came like the same. It was like, did you see the Foundation trailer? I was like, yes, we watched it on the show last week. Yes, I saw the Foundation trailer. I was about to get
I'm
mad
happy.
why nobody told me it was out before it came out.
I think you probably discovered it as it was like right after, probably.
But we are here to talk about Murderbot, episode 6. There's only 2 episodes left. Command Freed. And I thought this was the most interesting episode of the season
Hmm.
because
Absolutely.
the ending made me really intrigued about like, okay, what the hell's about to happen here. Um, but I don't have any clips from this week, so it's just going to be an audio. I mean, just a discussion recap. But
All right.
the
All good.
episode starts with Murderbot recapping Sanctuary Moon, and he sees that the episode. He's like, "This is episode 356 of Rise and Fall of the Sanctuary Moon," and then he says, "They have a." They're talking about the relationship with the robot and the captain is like heating up. Um, and then he says, and I thought this was interesting to ask Chanel about. He says he does not watch serials to remind him of how things are, how shitty things are in real life, but to distract him from how depressing the real world is. And I thought that was an interesting topic based on because that is a big divide in like uh fandom now, right?
Hmm.
Like some of it is like just people just like not liking black people or not liking things like that. But a lot of it, but that's not everyone. And then there's a group of people who are just like, yeah, I don't want to see this stuff on my Marvel TV show or my sci-fi TV show because I get enough of that shit in the real world and I'm trying to escape. So I thought that
Yeah.
was an
I mean, a
interesting
couple.
thing, interesting
Hmm.
line.
No, I definitely think there's a couple things I have thoughts have about the show at this point. Like you said, it's kind of reaching a crest of what the essence of it is. Um, First of all, I think bringing that up, like you said, that is a fandom debate. But I think what I appreciate about it is it's really more saying like you watch Real Housewives for escapism, like you're gonna watch these seven white women go to Dubai and argue, and you're like, hey, I could go to Dubai. I won't stay in the suite with the head to toe fish tank though, so I don't know if I'm gonna see
Mm-hmm.
that turtle while I'm sleeping in Dubai. But like I want to watch this with them and explore this versus like, but the idea is you do that and then you also like still know what's happening on the news and you
Mm-hmm.
still kind of stay balanced. Like I think sometimes people use escapism too far. What he was saying literally on the show, which is pretty clear, is like he's like, I don't want to watch people struggle through exactly what I'm struggling through. Meaning like
Right.
I'm stranded on a ship. It's me and a sexless cyborg and a human captain. Like, oh, this is too close to home. But I think that's different than saying like, hey, shows need to have a commentary that reflects the politics of the world and what's happening right now. Like, for example, it's kind of like the weird just the weird like conflict women have with watching Handmaid's Tale. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're watching a show
Mm-hmm.
that's like it's not it's not what we're dealing with verbatim, but it is what we're dealing with theoretically in terms of like how conceptually in terms of how patriarchy can manifest and how white supremacy can manifest and
Yeah.
how like
Yeah.
the like global warming climate change can manifest. Like these are all very real things that could
It
happen, and
the
I think we
show
see that more and
it's
more.
not what's happening in the world, but the show reminds you of things that are happening in the world that makes you believe this could be something,
Yeah,
some
it hits
real
super
life
close to home.
manifestation of this could happen. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then so the other thing I want to say though I think is kind of interesting is this show really feels not ahead of its time, but like very futuristic in the sense that it's really just Murderbot is low key a feel good show, but it's a feel good show based in another world about AI or like it's a post AI like machines live with us. There's still
Mm-hmm.
ethics we're figuring out world like, but the stakes of the show is just like there's a threesome, there's a throuple that's falling apart, and there's a love interest between cyber. Like it really is almost as silly and as like stakeless as it has the same stakes as Sanctuary Moon, So it's just I think that is what is fun about this show, and I think that Apple TV is doing something like they're spending millions of dollars to
Yeah.
inconceivably to make this show that just is like a 30-minute sitcom. Not quite, but you know what I mean. So I think that's what I really like about it is that it's a very chill watch. And then what else is cool about it is like it's something you can watch and not miss too much. Like where I feel like with Foundation, like I need to be watching it and like paying attention because there's so much going on. Whereas this is like just very light. So I do like the show. I definitely think they're setting themselves up for what could potentially be like several seasons of an interesting narrative. And I know Apple TV sometimes would do like Physical was only 3 seasons, and I really enjoyed that. But like they finished telling the story almost like too quickly.
What
so
was
yeah,
that
we're gonna
show
see
we
what
watched with Stringer Bell?
Oh, Hijack.
Hijack. Didn't they say that was getting a season 2?
I bet that is, but like, what is it?
Hijack has been renewed for season 2.
Wait, we need to talk. Oh man, have you not watched? Do you watch The Rehearsal?
No, we talked about this last time.
Okay, and you haven't watched it. And
no,
I did
but I
tell you
said I
about
was going to watch it. Yeah.
Okay, you just reminded me of that because of the pilot. Because every time I was okay, so apologies if y'all watched both weeks, then I won't
Production
get into it.
for season 2 has begun in the United Kingdom last summer. Last summer they did started
something's
production.
Wrong. Something's wrong. Something's going on.
So,
but I was just gonna say that I kept wanting to ask pilots while I was in the airport if they had seen this show.
What's Hijack?
Either one, this or The Rehearsal. Like, I just want to know, like, hey, are you like talking to your first captain and like seeing how his day was before you get started flying? Like, I need to know.
So Murderbot says he goes, in real life this would never happen. A navigation unit would never have a reason to fall in love with a captain. It's so fake. And then the captain's the captain's like talking to the robot, and the robot doesn't know how to laugh, so it does like, oh, that's supposed to be a joke. And I was like,
no, your laugh was better than that laugh. That laugh was so terrible.
And the captain gets turned on by the robot laugh.
He goes, cute laugh, and it makes you giggle because you're like, this is so ridiculous. But who's like, in the future when they look at time capsule shows, they'll be like, why is this black and white? You know, they'll look at us and be like, where's the sound? Why would they laugh at the guy hitting himself in the head with a hammer? Like, what are we doing? You know, it's so interesting to make fun of futuristic content when you think about how our content has had to evolve.
That's why the best stuff is timeless. I can watch Sanford and Son on a loop from 1973. And it's hilarious.
Aliens interpret Sanford and Son.
Oh it's pretty obvious. These poor people just trying to make it. Their daddy and their dumb kid.
But it's not obvious in a society that is socialist. You know what I'm saying? Or how would they interpret, like, does Martin make it into the time capsule? The problem is, like, my time capsule is different than the average person's time capsule. Because, like, for example, there's no Taylor Swift in my time capsule. You're gonna think
no Taylor Swift music. No.
That's what I'm saying. In my time capsule, if I'm packing the time capsule, it's gonna be slanted. And then there are some people.
You're racist. Of course.
Like there's gonna be somebody who is not gonna put 21 Savage in their time capsule, and that's crazy to me.
Most people wouldn't put it in their time capsule.
I mean, it's representative, but okay, keep going.
Mensah is with Murderbot, and the ship crashed. They want to get back, but it's all fucked up.
Yeah, because the beacon blew up.
And Mensah's like, don't you got the repair manual in your fucking files? And Murderbot's like, nah, actually I don't. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, I deleted that shit. And Mensah's like, is Grathan right? Are you really trying to hurt us? He's like,
you sabotage us by deleting critical information out of your database?
He's like, nah, I needed the memory so that I could upload the 19th season of Sanctuary Moon. And Dr. Mrs. like, you deleted that for that shitty fucking show?
That's the funniest bit of it, is that, like, apparently it's not that good of a show, but he thinks it's the pinnacle of entertainment, and they're all like, bro, you're gonna, like, if we're gonna die, let it be for Emmy Award winning type content. But he's like, no, I like he basically is watching his stories.
Yeah, stories. And he's like, actually it's premium quality. And then she walks off. She's like, I'm gonna go try to fix this shit. You get your shit together. And he pulls a blade out of his side, and you see him leaking lubricant, which we'll get to a little bit later. So then, back at the habitat, Penley and Arata, they're not really fucking with Rafi right now. And they kind of walk off. Then we see Garathan trying to reach out to Mensah, but he's not getting no response. Bardwaj is talking to Leebeebee and explain how she was attacked by the centipede and how that still fucks with her and she can't really sleep at night. And Leebeebee kisses her hand like mad weirdly, and then Mardwatch was like, "Actually, that was kind of nice. I appreciate that."
I don't know what's up with her. Like she seems. I don't know what's up with her. Like, why is she so ready to? I would feel like if she was that bleeding heart for this random woman. Okay, don't get me wrong. Like, they think they have like a person they've salvaged and saved their life, but you would. It's kind of a little bit inconsistent. Like, she's supposed to have these values, but was she pro or against calling the creatures animals? I'm trying to remember. Like, has she consistently been this much of a bleeding heart to
Oh,
where like anyone
Bardwatch,
can make
yeah.
them?
She said that they were just
Okay, yeah.
being themselves or whatever.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Cool. So then it's consistent. But yeah, it was like very interesting to have her really like think that all these quirky things are cute when like that was inconceivably the weirdest thing. That was more weird than anything Murderbot's done. Like kissing your scarf or what?
So, well, like when you're a little kid, your mama kisses and you feel better. She's making her feel
Yeah.
better.
Like she just be kissing too much. Like you just got on the ship, babes.
So then she explains. Then they said that the emergency beacon should have been activated by now. It's kind of concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Leebeebee says, "Don't worry, the cute little sec unit will protect her." And Garathan is like, "Sec unit is not cute." And Leebeebee says, and I
Mm-mm.
quote, "If you
Mm-hmm.
attached a penis module and programmed it for fucking, it would be cute, wouldn't it?"
That's a quote.
And they
And they
look at her
turn and
like
they
she's
both.
crazy.
So on the so Garathan's problem is he's like, I don't think he's cuter than me. But then Bardwatch's problem, she's like, that would be rape. Like, why would we force a bot to have sex with us? Like that, it has autonomy. We cannot force it to do that. And she's like, oh, like where we're from, and this I guess is more like world building. But she's like, where we're from, if you own it, you own it. It's yours to make it whatever type of slave you want. So again, red flags in the chat.
Well, I don't know if it's red flag because
No, I think it's
the bots aren't supposed to be autonomous. Murderbot is, but
No, I'm
they're
saying it's like the values of being like if I own
got
it,
you,
it's
got
truly.
you,
I'm
got
saying
you,
yeah, that's a red flag.
got you.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you're right. So then, back on the ship, Sec Unit is Murderbot's beating himself up for deleting the manual. He's kind of like, yeah, I was being stupid. What the fuck was I thinking? Mensah is starting to have a panic attack, and Murderbot realizes it and tries to soothe her and calms her. He tells her to sit down. He starts accessing his media library, and he says, "Look at the screen." And he plays the intro to Rise and Fall of the Sanctuary Moon while
And she's
singing
like,
to her.
she's so irritated.
And then
She's like,
he
"Are you for real?"
he plays an episode where they find a bacterial infection that encourages synchronized breathing. It's so Star Trek. It's so Star Trek. By the way, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is coming back, and I'm very excited about that. Love Strange New Worlds. And then Murderbot is doing like a mantra to try to get her to like calm down. It's so cute. And she does calm down. And they connected.
Yeah, I think it's helping because again, like she just right before this, because I watched the end of the episode before, she's like, "You can stay in our group." She's trying to build. She's made a unilateral decision, even though she's not technically the leader, but she kind of is. And then she's trying to build up in her mind, like she followed her gut and she's trying to make sure she's right. So every time he does these little like human kind things, it like kind of reaffirms to her that he's using his free will to do good things.
And then he starts speaking like a weird language, and Mensah's like, "You're leaking." And he's like, "Don't worry, Dr. Mensah. I'm not a human. Things that affect you don't." And he just passes the fuck out. Just passes the fuck out. So back at the habitat, Garathan's asking Leebeebee what brought her to the planet. He's basically questioning her. And she's telling her that she was an indentured, and that when she's finished her time, she's gonna apply for like a birthing license so she can have a kid. And Bardwatch is like, "What are you talking about? Like, none of this shit exists in my planet." And Leebeebee's like, "How do y'all pay for shit?" She's like, "Community." And Garathan's like, "We're in debt."
Yeah.
It's like he's like, "We do this shit so that we can pay for this shit. We gotta." And she's like, "We get this information and we make it for the common good." And then Garathan was like, "Or we sell it to the shitty corporation for a bunch of money to fund our shit."
I mean, I get it.
And then Leebeebee says, She starts saying that her maps were missing data, just kind of like their maps were missing data. And the Garathan starts to like look at her sideways, like, all right, I don't know if I trust this bitch, basically, is what he was saying with his face. And then Garathan says, are you sure you don't know where the outside sec units came from? She's like, no, they just came and terrorized us. And I just was trying to stay alive. And then she stands up and she pulls a gun out and she says, all right, if you're not going to tell me, I'm going to make you tell me, basically. And because she's trying to find out like all the information that they know.
But imagine them putting her on the ship and not searching her.
Well, we called this
Like,
last episode.
Yeah, we definitely called this, but it's just like they're so like not equipped to be on this new planet doing all this if they can't even secure it. Like we talked about how the mistrust for the robots causes them to be like over trusting any human they see, and like the last surviving it's just like with the Murderbot, like how he saw the sec unit and assumed it was dead. Like the last surviving human, you need to have so many questions for them because either that's the first person who ran off or that is the killer. You know,
exactly. It's always that every time. So
Mm-hmm.
then, back at the.
Oh, sorry. It reminds me of. Did we ever talk about? I know that we didn't do it on the show. Did we ever talk about Walking Dead?
Why would we talk about The Walking Dead? How old is that? The Walking Dead?
It was big in my house.
Yeah, years before we started the show.
I'm saying like just me and you as humans have never talked about if we watch the show.
Oh no, we've never talked about it. Yeah, well, I watched it
like,
for a while.
No, okay, right. So anyway, it reminds me of how like they eventually had code for like before they would no spoilers, but I'm just kidding, I don't remember what happened, but they would have a rule where like if you were new to the group they would ask you 3 questions to decide whether or not they could bond with you, because every time like it's like whatever in the video games, like you're walking along, you see this group, they're like, hey, can we go with you? And you're like, they could be murderers, they could be cannibals, they could just be plain crazy, they could be escaped convicts who didn't change their life, they could be all these things, they could be zombies in height, whatever it is. And so they have to like have a process. That's how I would be in any situation. I'd be like, all right, we just found you. What's your mother's maiden name? Like, where do you like? You need to show me ID. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just be pulling nobody on the ship. That was just my last thought about Leebeebee.
Mensah has sec unit hooked up to lubrication from the hopper. It's basically like an IV, and it connects with sec unit, and that kind of gives him an idea of how he can fix the ship. And he basically,
the fact that it did it means that there's some compatibility between the machinery.
He basically wants to connect his neural wiring to the ship to repair it, but that's like, and Vince is like, but that's like human nerves, right? He's like, clones of it, but still, I need you to slice a thin strip out of my spinal cord and connect it to the ship. So then we cut back and we see Penley, Arata, and Rafi, and they're doing a thruples massage, which is mad awkward. And then they start talking about the sec unit if they trust it, and they hear Bardwatch tell them to come downstairs, and then Leebeebee pulls a gun out on them. And so then,
which, by the way, how do you tell? How so there's a gun on you? What are you, I just want to know what are you saying to the people in the house so they know to come down strapped? Like, what's your code word? Because they literally said, "Kay, come down here," and then warn them. They didn't say get.
Yeah, we'd have to have her set that up in beforehand.
But I'm saying, say you don't have one. I want to know how would you try to?
If we didn't have one, then I'm not trying nothing. I'm just trying to get out there alive. But if we planned, I would if I was in a situation like them, I would always have some code words when you just out there.
I'm trying to think if there's like a black code word that you could use that people would know. Like, I'd be like, it's just like something like, come down here and watch your step. Keep your head on a swivel. Come down here.
Yeah, but that'd be so obvious. Like, why would you say that in that scenario?
You're right. Well, we need as people, we need to figure out what is our warning. You know how people like, I really enjoy when people put online, like, if you see me tweet about XYZ, then you know that I've been taken. And so mine is always like, if I say how much I love men, then you know that like something's wrong. Like that's like call the police. Okay. Anyway, so just curious.
So then they cut back. Mensah's freaking out trying to cut open sec unit. This is really intense scene. It's basically like Operation. You have to like cut open his back and
Very
then
real. Yeah.
take a wrench and crack his spinal cord and then peel out like a nerve. And in a second, it was like, this wasn't your first time. You did so good. So he makes like a joke. She's like, oh, you made a fucking joke. So then we see
It's also a lot just because like it's so graphic. Like she literally doesn't have to cut a little bit. Like she cuts his spine from like shoulder to tailbone, and then like literally has to crack open a part of his vertebrae and like get a wire. Like it actually is a lot. It's I think it's very cool in terms of like the production, where they said that his pain sensors are off, but you just see him like working and acting like nothing's happening to him. That's like a very just a cool same thing of like in Novocaine when like he's getting punched, there's all kind of stuff happening and he's not reacting at all. It's like I think it's or like he dips his hand into hot burning grease and doesn't do anything. Like I love seeing like this disconnect of like what's happening, the special effects and the person not feeling it, but we're feeling it. I think it's very cool.
Was also reminding Mensah that he's a robot. And so then they cut back. Leebeebee wants access to all their maps and information. He says, you better give it to me now. I'm going to start shooting people. They don't do shit. He shoots Garathan in the fucking knee. Bardwatch tries to come over. She tells him, get away. Bardwatch is like, whoever's paying you, I can help you get sanctuary. You don't have to do this. And she's like,
read the room, babe.
She's like, you going to give me 1 million credits? Bardwatch says, that's not what life's about. And she says, what? She's like, yeah, all right, buddy. Okay.
She's well, I want to figure that out for myself. She's like, I'd rather have the $1 million and be wrong about it than not.
So Leebeebee says, they're like, you better, like, somebody's going to come save you. And she's like, oh, Second and Mensah are dead. I sabotaged the emergency beacon to blow up, so they not finna get here. And Bardwatch is freaking out. And then we see Sec Unit come in, and he's like, step away. And Leebeebee walks over to Garathan and puts the gun to his head. Is like, take another step and I'll kill you. And he immediately blows her head off. I said, what the fuck is this?
I said, correct. That's what I said, and scene. Because what do you mean? That's what he's meant to do. He's there to tell y'all, leave him, like, don't play with him.
And everybody starts freaking out, and Garathan's like, you could have killed me. And he's Murderbot's like,
unfortunately, I didn't.
There was a chance, but I had to take it. And they're all freaking out.
But did you die? That's literally what he does.
And they're looking at him like he's crazy. And I'm like, and he even says with his like narration, he's like, in the serials I watch, when somebody comes in and saves the day, everybody's like clapping and cheering.
They actually are. He's right.
But nobody's here is clapping and cheering for
like
me.
Somebody, Rothy throws up.
And then,
but the thing is, they get mad at him. They're like, "Oh, like now we can't figure out who she's working with. We don't have." But like, you had a gun to your head. Like, I don't think y'all were in a position for that. Like, I hate when people do that and they're mad about like somebody saving their life. Like, once the gun is drawn, I don't think we're in a place anymore of like, I don't know that we're in the place of, hey, we can still talk this out.
Mm-hmm. And he says, excuse me while I go repair my spinal cord. And Mensah,
as long as that's okay with everyone, which I thought was so funny.
And then Mensah's like, it's telling the truth, we have to leave. And I was like, oh, she's calling Murderbot it now. Like, she's full on like it's a robot. And then they watch a weird clip on Sanctuary Moon of like the captain talking about commands. And then we get a Murderbot monologue at the end. And Murderbot says they were feeling like they were starting to know him, make connections, like he was going to be becoming part of the team. And he says that I was becoming kind of like them. But then I exploded Leebeebee's head and it felt good. And it goes off. 2 episodes
really
left.
Into it. Yeah, I feel like I think there's something, it's the answer somewhere in between, because they've been trying to humanize it and give it rights, which they should, but I think they can like potentially it's not like Garathan, who's like a modified human. It's like he's starting as a security, something that functions in terms of security, and like its main core objective is that, versus like for humans, you could argue their core objective. he's only going to deviate so much from that. So I think they should still, he still gets his kudos for taking care of them and having like making the right decisions. And maybe it is because he watches these sappy ass TV shows that are all about like friendship and unity and honesty and honor at the end of the day. Like maybe if he was watching The Wire, you know, we'd have a terrible sec unit. So I will say also the idea that he named himself Murderbot, like there's clearly something to be said about him at some point murdering, but I think the what's interesting about it is, you know, can you trust this robot? And can you trust this robot more or less than you can trust a human? And if humans have been killing each other since the beginning of time, why do we inherently trust each other when, like, ultimately, you know, most people will die by the hands of another human in some kind of way, right? So, like, how do like
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's where the dialogue is. Like, I'm not saying this to be pro AI. Like, I actually think we need to go Stone Age, but my point is just like that's I think why the show is interesting and like the different themes and ideas is bringing up. But I do love that he's able to reflect on the idea that like okay he picks up on like oh I lost their trust and that he's aware of that because he just
Mm-hmm.
realized like oh we were building rapport and they were starting to humanize me and now they're not and what does that look like and also hey by the way I just did what I think I want to keep doing. So if it's a problem, I don't know where we're going to go from here because I don't feel bad about like
But he liked it.
securing. Yeah.
He liked it.
hmm
So yeah,
But I think I'm like, why wouldn't he? Wouldn't, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? I don't know. It doesn't seem too crazy to me. But I'm also not in that situation. I think, like, thankfully, I've never seen a head get blown off. So,
I'm excited for the last couple episodes. So next week we'll probably have 2 episodes. We'll be doing Murderbot and Ironheart. So check back in with us next week. We're very excited to start that. We got another Black woman superhero, which we're all very, very, very excited for, getting her own show. Hopefully Disney doesn't do her dirty. Uh,
yeah, we
because
got to be on the lookout for her.
yeah, we hopefully Disney don't do her dirty. But Riri is getting her own time. So thank you all for listening. Remember, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We'll read on the show. And go subscribe to us on YouTube. Chanel, do you have anything to say before we go?
I almost forgot. I did go see another movie. I'm not going to do it here, but on Instagram, I've been doing 1 minute movie reviews. So I need to go do those for the 2 movies we talked about in the beginning. So check that out at Chanel Creating if you want. We're also on all the socials, as Brandon said in the beginning, and the show notes at We Was Watching. You know, we got our summer planned out, which is exciting. We are the days of the weeks that we stream, which continue to change as we catch up to these shows, like with Murderbot coming out on a Thursday. It comes out Thursdays, right?
Friday.
Yeah, Fridays, right? So it's like that's shitty for the weekend, and then we have these other shows. So we might switch around days, but we're hoping that by Foundation we'll have a set day and a set time. Otherwise, thank you guys for listening. Go, you know, give us a review if you haven't, please, to keep us popping in the algorithm. And it was good to see you guys again. We will, you know, we're gonna be back next week, hopefully, like within the actual week.
All right. See